Hello citizens and welcome back. This is our match reaction for Man City 5, Crystal Palace 2 in the Premier League. Hit like, hit subscribe. Let's jump into it. So first up, I thought Pep's lineup was an interesting one. He did go with some youth, which I don't particularly mind. I did have the match preview that said forget the old players, and I agree with that. I think the players that won us the treble, it's time for some of them to move on. That one including De Bruyne, which we'll get into. But look, we started off the game appallingly, and I don't know how many times I've said it. I've said in every single video, and I remind everyone in every single video, I just don't trust the team. You know, one week we play really well, the next week we play really poor. You know, one week we can look like champions, and the following week we look like the worst team in the league. And this Crystal Palace game, for me, has summed up our entire season and summed up how I would describe us at the moment. If someone told me to sum up the City, Man City this season, I'd just show them this game, or that first half, because it's just everything. It's absolutely everything. You know, you look at how we started this game. We started off quite on the front foot. You know, we pushed up to the halfway line. We looked okay-ish. We're creating some, I guess, half opportunities. But then Crystal Palace have two attacks. They rip open our defence each time. I think both times we're on their right-hand side, our left, through O'Reilly, who's being left 1-on-2 against everyone. It was an absolutely shocking performance defensively from everyone involved. You know, it was so bad. And I nearly turned it off. I nearly turned the game off after 20 minutes and just did my match reaction then and said I wasn't even going to watch the rest of the game. And I left it another 10 minutes, and then by then it was 2-2. And again, it sums up the team. Going forward this season, you know, we did all right. We had... again, like I said, we had a couple of half chances. We fell 2-0 behind, and we probably deserved to be 2-0 down at the time. But then De Bruyne drags us back into the game. You know, wonderful free kicking off the post. And then De Bruyne from that point on just took charge of the game. And I've said it this season as well numerous times, which is number of players do not... Well, the team that won us the treble, the team that won us these 4 Premier Leagues, no one wanted to take responsibility this season for our poor performances. Not one single person stepped up. You know, they're all happy to do it when we're winning. They're all happy to do it when we're winning trophies, winning the treble. But when the team needed them this season, no one has stepped up. But De Bruyne today stepped up. And the only thing I can put that down to, because he's not been there all season, the only thing I can put it down to is the fact that now his contract cycle, whatever's been going on behind the scenes, is over. Now that he knows his fate, the club knows his fate, you know, there's no doubt. It just kind of freed him of that. It just kind of relaxed him, and he doesn't have that pressure. He doesn't have that stress behind him, and he's just got on with playing football. And when he just plays football, he turns into this unbelievable player like he is today. I do think he's the best player that City have ever had. I've never seen a better player at the club, and that goes above Silva, above Toure, and I'd put Yaya Toure in every single Man City 5-a-side team if I had to do one. I think he's unbelievable, Toure. And Silva as well, of course, like one of the best midfielders we've ever seen as well. But I think De Bruyne is the best player we've ever had, certainly in my lifetime. I've never seen a better player. You know, my hero growing up was David White. What a legend he was. So anyway, look, it's a great performance all round. We went 2-2. I was worried that we were going to drop the pace again in the second half because I've seen us do it numerous times. But in the second half, we picked up. We were in front, I think, within 60, 70 seconds, something like that. O'Reilly, wonderful on the left-hand side. De Bruyne laying the ball off. Kovacic finishing it. And of course, then we just went on and scored 2 more goals as well. And we tore Crystal Palace apart. It looked like Crystal Palace just collapsed. And this is a good result, by the way. This Crystal Palace team is no joke. Absolutely no joke. They're in fine bit of form. Don't forget they're in the FA Cup semi-final. You know, they're a good side, you know. And this is a very good result and one we needed, because Pep keeps going on every single week about every game's an FA Cup final. Or cup final at least, because we do need to win every single game. You know, we can fall into 5th and still get Champions League football, which will be massive going into next season, because this is a massive rebuild still. Don't let this performance fool you. This is a massive rebuild, and this defence needs a lot of work. You know, going forward, we need a bit of work as well in that midfield, especially with De Bruyne going, Gundogan not getting any younger. You know, Grealish possibly move on. I think it's time for Bernardo to go. But yeah, with that rebuild underway, it's big to get into the Champions League. Look, it's a poor start to the game, unbelievable finish, 5-2 win. It's a great result. And like I said, De Bruyne, now his contract saga's over, it's turned into the De Bruyne we know. But there are other good performances as well. I thought Mamouche looks like an absolute world star. I tell you what, next season I'm looking forward to seeing him play behind Haaland. If we can get them 2 fit the whole season, my word, we could win another treble. You know, his work rate You know, he gets up and down the pitch. He doesn't really care. He tracks back. He presses really high. He tackles. Oh man, I love that kid, Mamouche. I think he's unbelievable. I think O'Reilly's fantastic. You know, defensively had his moments today, but like I said, he was left 1 on 2 for most of the game. I think he had a good game again. And McAtee, I think, did okay. I think he should have scored at least 2. That head in the first half, he should have put 3-2 in front when we were 2-2. He should have done better in the second half of his first shot that he ballooned over, but he got his goal really, really well. I mean, you got Ederson, who's got his 4th assist this season in the Premier League. 4 assists in the Premier League this season for Ederson. I think that's more assists than like Mason Mount has appearances for United this season. And then you've got, I think Kovacic and Nico, when Rodgers not there, I think they play well together, although, I mean, Crystal Palace just ripped them apart in the first half because they just bypassed them. De Bruyne, obviously best player in the world. And yeah, I think if Vardiol and Diaz work on their defensive partnership, again, that could be solid going into next season. Keep them at centre half, and then you move like Kuzanov to the right or something. But yeah, fantastic performance in the end. Didn't look that way. It was embarrassing. First half was embarrassing. First 20 minutes, embarrassing. Second half, state of old. No consistency. Do I trust this team? No. Next game, I have no idea what's going to happen. We're probably going to get beat 4-0. Who knows? Anyway, that's the match reaction. I'm going to stop rambling. Thank you very much for watching. Hit like, hit subscribe. Thank you very much as always. And see you all soon. Bye-bye.